Hey guys, I hope that you are staying safe these 2 days. We're going to be going over what was supposed to be your homework first, and what I want you to do is a couple of things when we're going through this video, okay? First of all, if you are struggling on a certain problem, like say for example you don't know how we get this first answer, please circle that answer or that problem and come see me for zero period on Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday so that we can work those together, okay? Or you remember that you can send me an email or a remind text, and I can go through these problems in a lot more detail, and I can send you a personal video back, okay? All you have to do is ask for help, okay? The second thing I want you to do, so the first one was circle any problems you have trouble with. The second thing is that you can pause this video, you can rewind it, or you can fast forward it if there's anything that you need for those. So if I'm going too fast, just pause the video. If there's something you want to see again, rewind it. If you know how to do all this stuff and you just want to check the answers, then fast forward it, okay? So you don't have to watch the whole thing, just make sure that you understand what we're doing, and then when we get back, we're going to do a few of these problems together, and then we're going to move on from there, okay? So first thing is, we're going to do this homework together. Now this homework and the other thing that we're going to do will be due as a homework grade on Wednesday. So there is no reason why you should have anything less than a 100 on this homework grade because I'm going to do them with you, okay? So first things first, let's remember how to do this. You have two options. You have to figure out where to plug the -2. So since -2 is less than 0, not greater than 0, you're going to plug it in to this one. Now I know most of you can do this in your head, but I'm going to do the first one with you. And since I'm not here with you for me to kind of see if you're getting these or not, I'm going to work out each step, but y'all know if you do not need those steps, then do not do it. I know that 90% of you can just give me that answer as -1 by plugging it in, okay? All right, let's look at this one. 0. 0 is not less than 0, it is equal to 0. So we're going to plug it into the second one. So that'll be 4 times 0 plus 7. And make sure you write your answer correctly. F of 0 is equal to 7. All right, 3 is greater than 0, so same thing. And if you've already got these, remember that you can just fast forward and get the answers, okay? All right, number 2, 0. 0 is less than 4, so we're going to plug it into this guy, okay? All right, this one I've already had a couple of emails about. So right here, you don't see a plus sign, you don't see a minus sign. When they're smushed together, that means multiplication. Just like these two are smushed together, that means multiplication, okay? Or you can just plug it straight in your calculator. But you should get 3 times the square root of 0. The square root of 0 is just 0. And then 3 times 0 is 0. All right, 4 is equal to 0. So we're going to plug in the same one. And you should know those perfect squares. That's why I made you do a perfect squares test. 4 times 4 is 16. So you should know that the square root of 16 is 4. We're going to multiply those and get an answer of 12. All right, last one is 6. 6 is greater than 4. So we're going to plug it into this one. And this is where a lot of us were still struggling on our first couple of quizzes. You do not multiply these first. You square it first. And then you multiply those together, and you get 32. All right, where are we at? Let's see, we need to go. All right, this one right here, a couple of us were asking a question about because of the absolute values. You are not solving these absolute values. The directions said to evaluate those. So you're still just going to get one answer just like you normally would. You're not solving anything. So -2 is less than 1. So you're going to plug into this one. All right, remember, if they're smushed together, you are not adding that, you are multiplying that, okay? So you can do your absolute values first, which you're multiplying. -2 plus 5 is 3. All right, pretend like this guy's not here. What's the absolute value of 3? That's just 3. And remember, you're multiplying the absolute value times the 3, times the -3, excuse me. So f of negative 2 is equal to negative 9. All right, 1 is equal to 1. There is no x value to plug in 1. So negative 9 is never going to change. So your answer is just negative 9. It's always going to be negative 9. Nothing can ever change it because there's nothing to plug into. There's no letter to plug into. All right, f of 11. 11 is greater than 1. So same thing. There's no letter to plug into. So your answer is just negative 9. Remember, if I'm going too fast, you can hit pause. If you need to see something again, just hit rewind. And if you want to see just the answers, just keep fast forwarding, okay? All right, so remember where this guy right here means that this is between 0 and 2. And they are both equal to, so that means it is 0, 1, and 2. Those are all the numbers between 0 and 2. All right, negative 5. So you've got 3 options. Negative 5 is less than 0. So we're going to plug it into this one. So this would be 3 times negative 5. So your answer is negative 15. All right, 2. 2 is not greater than 2. It is equal to 2. So you're going to plug it into this guy, x plus 1. So it'll be 2 plus 1. So your answer is 3. All right, last one, number 8. Part C, where we're going to plug in 8. 8 is greater than 2. So you're going to plug it into this guy. Now do it exactly how it's written. Parentheses. I'm not going to put x. I'm going to put 8 minus 2 and squared. Now remember, order of operations says that you have to do parentheses first, which is the 8 minus 2, then square it, and it's 6 times 6, which is 36. All right, last one down here at the bottom. So same thing. You've got this guy right here means between negative 5 and 3. So all the numbers between, now it includes negative 5. It's equal to negative 5. So it'd be negative 5, negative 4, negative 3, negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, and 2. It is not equal to 3. So it's only these numbers, okay? So for this one. All right, so negative 6. Negative 6 is less than negative 5. So you're going to plug it in here. Now be careful. You've got this entire thing to plug into. And when it's negative and you square it, you have to use parentheses, okay? All right, so that's 36 minus 24 minus 5. And you're just going to use your calculator. 36 minus 24 minus 5, and you get 7, okay? All right, same thing on this one. You're going to plug in 2. So 2 is between negative 5 and 3, so we're going to plug it into this guy. So you got the square root of 5 times 2 minus 1. 5 times 2 is 10, minus 1 is 9, and the square root of 9 is 3. That was a perfect square. You should know that one. That's why we took that test on it. All right, last one is 7. 7 is greater than or equal to 3, so you're going to plug it into this guy, okay? You've got several things here, so be careful. Now, since 7 is positive, you do not have to use parentheses here, but you could if you wanted to. All right, so we're going to square first. So that's 4 times 49 minus 7 plus 9. All right, then you've got 4 times 49 is 196 minus 7 plus 9. Then you've got 196 minus 7 plus 9. And so f of 7 is equal to 198. And that was supposed to be your homework. So make sure that you've got them all checked. There should be no reason for anything other than a 100 on page 23 that we are going to turn in on Wednesday, okay? All right, now what we're going to go over is we're going to go over what we did on Friday, and that's going to be on page 25. So flip over. All right, don't freak out, okay? All right, first it says graph. If you don't have graph paper, you got plenty of room over here that you could draw some graphs. We are going to do 1 through 9. We're going to mark out 6. And that's what we're going to, this and that page we just went over are what we are going to turn in on Wednesday for a homework grade. And there should be no reason for anything but a 100, okay? When we get back on Wednesday, we are going to work on, we're going to mark out 10 and 16 because we're not going to worry about those right now. We are going to work on 11 through 15 when we get back. That'll be your final chance to clear up any misconceptions. Will be on Wednesday, okay? So we're going to be about a day behind. If you're looking at your calendar, we'll be about a day behind on Wednesday, but it'll be okay. All right, so let's look at these. So if you've got some graph paper, go ahead and grab some graph paper. And these are very easy to get messed up on because they're kind of close together. So it would really help you if you did like that with your paper to keep them all straight, okay? All right, so remember how we did this. F of x is the same as y. And you've got y equals 1. And you've got y equals x plus 1. Remember, if I go too fast, you just pause it. If you need to see something again, rewind it. And if you've got this, if you remember how to do this, you just go and you fast forward everything, okay? Now, there are two ways to do this. Since you are in pre-AP, I want to teach you the way that you can do it in your head. If you are still struggling on how to do this way, please come see me and I will show you the other way, and maybe that will help you out a little bit, okay? But let's try it this way first. Let's do our graph. Okay, this is the x-axis, this is the y-axis. Again, if I go too fast, just pause it. All right, the very first one, y equals 1, is a straight line at y equals 1. So you go to the y-axis at 1, and it's a straight line, okay? But this is called piecewise for a reason. You want to take a piece of it, and it tells you to take the piece from x is less than or equal to 1. So we're going to go to the x-axis at 1. Well, here's the x-axis, and here's 1, okay? Don't mark anything, just put your pencil there. And remember that y equals 1 was a straight across line, okay? So it's a straight across line. So it may help if you do this. Like, that was a straight across line at 1, okay? So we're going to go to the x-axis at 1 right here. And since it is equal to, it has a solid line, that gets a solid dot, okay? And you want to take all of your x's less than 1. So guys, where is less than? That's everything to the left. That means if you actually drew this mark in, you'll erase everything on that side. And that's the piece of y equals 1 that it wants you to take. All right, remember how we do this. Guys, this is no different. Your slope is still 1. Your y-intercept should still be 1. But remember, there's a very quick way we could do this. We're going to plug in 1 into the x value right here. So if we plug in 1, that's y equals 2. That means we go to the x at 1 and the y at 2. So we go to the x at 1 and the y at 2 right here. Don't put a mark. Just put your pencil there. All right. Now look what it says. It says greater than. There's no solid bar. So that means it gets an open circle, okay? Then you still get your slope from the same place you always do. Your slope is still 1 over 1. Your y-intercept is still 1. There's nothing different, okay? So we need to ask ourselves, if it's greater than, does that mean I need to take my slope that's up and right? Or does that mean I need to take the slope that's down and left? Since it's greater, x's are greater as you go to the right. So you need to go up and right as many times as you want to go. The only one that gets to the open circle is the one that's greater than 1, because it's all the x's bigger than 1, but it just doesn't include 1. All right, then we did domain and range. Domain was left to right. There was no shame in writing that down if you needed it, okay? So right here you have a graph that's going to the left. It's going forever and forever and forever to the left, so that is negative infinity. All right, I know that this looks like it's going up, but I don't want to think up. I want to think right, because as it is going up, it is also going to the right. It's going forever and forever and forever to the right, so that is positive infinity. Or you simply could have just put all real numbers, so just give me one of the two. You do not have to put both, just one of the two, okay? All right, so then range is the y values. Remember the song? Starting from the bottom, then we're going to the top, okay? All right, so ask yourself, do you see a graph that is going to the bottom? And the answer is no. This one's going up, and this one's just flatlined. So then you ask yourself, what is the lowest that this graph goes? And it's right here. There is no graph that is below that point. So what is that y value? That y value is 1. Since it has a closed dot, it's going to get a bracket. Then you ask yourself, do you see one going to the top? This one right here is going to the top. That's going forever and forever and forever to the top. So that's infinity. All right, look at number 2. All right, number 2, same thing. It's going to help you if you keep that paper there. You've got y equals 3, which is a straight horizontal line. And you've got y equals x minus 1, okay? Same thing. Your slope is still 1. Your y-intercept is still negative 1. See, like right here, look back at number 1. This y-intercept is 1. The slope was 1. So if I keep going, there it would have hit again right there at 1, okay? I just only wanted to take this piece. So it's still the same line that we've always drawn, but it's just I just want a piece of it. All right, so let's draw my graph. And if I go too fast, just hit the pause button. If you want to see something again, rewind it. Or if you've got this and you want to keep going a little faster, just hit the fast forward button, okay? All right, y equals 3 is a straight across line at 3. So it's straight across like this. If you need to draw it, then draw it, okay? But it wants you to take your x values at 2. So you go to the x-axis at 2. Find that line right here. There is not a solid line, so that gets an open circle right there at x is 2 and y is 3. So then you have to ask yourself, less than means that I'm going to take all the x values that are less than. That means all the x values to the left. Okay? All right, so then we're going to graph this guy. Normally we would start down here, slope is negative 1, and then, y-intercept is negative 1. Slope is 1, so we'd go up 1, right 1, all that good stuff, right? That's how we normally would graph it. But since this is a piecewise, I only want a piece of it. So we're going to plug in x is 2 right here. Okay? So y equals 2 minus 1, which is 1. So we're going to go the x-axis at 2, the y-axis at 1, and since it is greater than or equal to means it's going to get a closed dot, okay? You still get your slope from the same place you always do. Slope is always the 1. But you have to ask yourself, does greater than mean I need to take up and right or down and left? Greater than is up and right. And remember, you know you did it correctly because these dots will always line up on top of each other. No matter how close or far away, they'll always line up on top of each other. All right, so we need to do domain and range. I know most of you know that already, that it's left to right, but sometimes we get a little confused, so sometimes it really helps to write it. All right, you've got a graph right here going to the left. Forever and forever, that's negative infinity. And you've got a graph here. Do not think that it's going up. It is going up, but as it is going up, it is going to the right. So that is positive infinity. Then you've got range. Remember the song starting from the bottom, okay? So bottom to top. Do you see a graph that is going to the bottom? And the answer is no, nothing is going to the bottom. So the farthest that it goes down is this point right here. There is nothing below that point. And that y value is 1. And since it had a closed dot, it gets a bracket. Then you ask yourself, do you see a graph going to the top? Now you can think this sucker's going to the top. So that is positive infinity. And that's all you do on number 2. All right, number 3. I want you to try number 3 on your own, okay? So here's what I'm going to help you out, though. It's the same as always. Your slope is still 1. Your y-intercept is still positive 1, okay? So look back at number 2. If you need to, your y-intercept was still negative 1. So if you kept going down 1 and right 1, it would still hit right there at negative 1, okay? It's the same thing. We're just going to start a little differently. So just to help you out, your slope is always in front of x. That's negative 1 over 1. That means down 1 and right 1. Or up 1 and left 1. Your y-intercept, that is a positive 1. Should still be 1. Now, it may not be graphed there, but if you extend that line out, it will still hit 1. And remember, y equals 5 is a horizontal line. So what I want you to do real quick is I want you to pause this video, and I want you to try number 3 on your own, okay? And when you get finished, turn the video back on and check your answer for number 3. Try number 3 real quick. Alright, here we go on number 3. Okay, number 3, it wanted you to plug in x is negative 2. So that's 1 minus negative 2. Make sure you put parentheses around it. That's 1 plus 2, which is 3. So you're going to go the x-axis at negative 2, the y-axis at 3, and since it did not have a solid bar, it does not get a solid dot, so it's an open dot, okay? Alright, your slope, remember, was always in front of x. That's never changing. Ever since middle school, it's been always in front of x. That's negative 1. That means down 1 and right 1. Down 1 and right 1. And you see that if you continued that, it would hit at positive 1, which is your y-intercept. But it did not want you to take that piece. It wanted you to take the piece that was less than. Less than is to the left. That's why we went up 1 and left 1. And I kind of ran into my work there. Sorry. Alright, then y equals 5 is a straight across line. But it wanted you to take it from x is negative 2. And it had a solid line. That's why we went to x is negative 2. Y is 5. Solid line means solid dot. It wanted everything to the right that's greater than, so that's why you took it this way. Alright, so your domain is from left to right. I don't care that this is going up. I care that he's going to the left. That's why I put negative infinity. And this one goes to the right to positive infinity. Or you simply could have just put all real numbers. Guys, you do not need both. Pick one. You don't have to put both, okay? Bottom to top. There is not a graph that is going to the bottom. This is the furthest down that this graph goes. And that y value is 3. It was an open circle. That's why it got an open parentheses. And then this guy right here is going up to in positive infinity, okay? I am not disregarding this guy right here, okay? I'm not disregarding this guy. This means that this graph has all the y values from 3 all the way up to infinity. So this y value is 3, and then 4, and then 5. That's what the y value is. All the way across is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, all the way to infinity. I'm not disregarding him. He is included in everything from 3 to infinity. Okay? All right, let's do number 4. All right, same thing. I want you to try number 4. It's really going to help if you cover up the piece that you don't need, okay? Because these are kind of close together. All right, that's number 4 right there. Y equals x. and it wants you to take all the x's less than or equal to 0, and then it wants y equals x plus 1, and it wants all the x's that are greater than 0. Alright, so same thing, guys. Your slope is still in front of x, which is 1. Your slope is still in front of x, which is 1. Okay? So y'all try number 4 real quick, see what you can do. So pause the video, and you try 4. Alright, check your answer on 4. Make sure you've got this graph. Look right here. Your slope is 1. Your y-intercept is 0. And you still got a slope of 1. This one should hit at positive 1, and it does. Slope is still 1, okay? It's the same graph as we always do. We're just going to take a piece of it. Instead of drawing the whole line here and the whole line there, you're just going to take a piece of it, okay? So if you plugged in 0, you should have went to x is 0, and you should have plugged in and got y is 0. And a solid line means a solid dot, okay? Please don't do these both at the same time. Do them one at a time. It'll make your life easier, okay? And then your slope is 1 over 1, which means either up 1 and right or down 1 and left. I want you to take all the x's less than 0, which is why we went down and left, because less than is to the left, okay? All right, this one, I want you to plug in 0. You got y is 1, so you got x is 0, and y is 1. It did not have the bar, so it does not get a solid dot, it gets an open dot. Slope is still 1, which is either up and right or down and left. It wanted all the x's greater, that's why we went up and right. Okay? Alright, both of these, I don't care that this is going down, I care it's going left. And I don't care this is going up, I care it's going right. So it's going negative infinity to positive infinity, which is just all real numbers. You do not have to have both of these answers. Please do not put both of these answers. Pick one. But I don't know, everybody's different, so I've got to put both of them, okay? Alright, then bottom to top. Then you care that this one's going down and this one's going up. So negative infinity, positive infinity, or you could have just put all real numbers. Okay? Remember that if there is one you do not understand, circle that problem that you do not understand, and we will go back over that in detail. Or if you are still not getting this way, please come see me, because there's a different way that I can show you how to do this, okay? Alright, let's look at number 5. So we're going to do number 5 together, okay? Actually, no, I'm going to help you out on 5. We're not going to do it together. So your slope would still be 2. Your y-intercept would still be 3. You're going to take it from x is less than negative 1. And then on this one, slope is always in front of x. So slope is negative 1. And y-intercept is a positive 3, okay? You may not need the y-intercept, but you always need that slope. So what I want you to do is I want you to pause this video and try number 5 on your own, okay? Pause the video. Alright guys, check your work for number 5. Okay, so we're going to plug in negative 1. And when we did that, we got y is 1. So we're going to go to x is negative 1. Y is positive 1. Does not have the bar, so it gets an open circle, okay? Your slope is always in front of x, just like it always is for middle school, okay? Alright, so we can either go up 2 and right 1, or down 2 and left 1. Since it wants less than, that's down 2 and left 1. Okay, that's why we took that piece. This one we plugged in negative 1. You had to use parentheses. That became plus 1. And you went to x is negative 1 and y is positive 4. Since it had a solid bar, it got a solid dot. Your slope is just like it always is in front of x. Slope is negative 1 over 1. That means either down 1 and right 1, or it means up 1 and left 1, okay? Since it wants us greater than means that we were going to go down 1 and right 1. Because it said greater than, that's why we took that piece. Remember, you know you did it correctly because those dots line up, okay? I know it's different. Who cares? They both go down. It's not a big deal. Don't freak out, okay? It's okay. All right, so domain is x, and it's going to go from left to right. I do not care that both of them are going down. What I care about is left to right. So, left. This guy, I know he's going down, but he's going to the left as he goes down. So that's negative infinity. I know he's going down, but I don't care about that. I care that he's going to the right as he goes down. That's positive infinity. Or you could have just put all real numbers. Don't put both. Put one or the other, okay? Just one or the other. All right, range of your y values. That's from bottom to top. Remember the song, starting from the bottom, now we're here? All right, here we go. They are both going to the bottom. So what? They're both going to negative infinity. Cool. Neither one of them is going to the top. So then you ask yourself, what's the highest that it goes? The highest that it goes is right here. What's that y value? 1, 2, 3, 4. Your y value is 4. Since you got a number, you have to ask yourself, since that has a closed dot, then it would get a bracket, okay? If that was an open dot, then the 4 would get a parentheses. Infinities always get a parentheses. Numbers, you kind of have to look at what this dot is, okay? All right, so we skipped number 6 because it had a square, and we're only going to fight one battle at a time. So we're going to go to number 7. I don't care it says g of x. G of x is the same thing as y, okay? So let's look at number 7. I got to have some room, so I'm going to erase that stuff right there. All right, remember, you can fast forward if you need to. So number 7 said y equals x plus 2, and you're going to take that from all the x's less than or equal to negative 2, and then y equals 3x. You're going to take all the x's greater than negative 2. So guys, let's look back at number 5 real quick though. If you look at this first guy, he still had a y-intercept of 3. If you went up 2 and right 1, he still would have hit right there at 3. But I didn't want that piece. It only wanted the x's negative 1, okay? Same thing with this guy. He actually hit at positive 3 because it wanted that piece. So it still has those y-intercepts. It's just whether or not it wants you to take the piece that actually hits the y-axis, okay? So just be careful. Number 7 still has a slope of 1. It still has a y-intercept of 2. You're always going to use the slope, but it may or may not hit the y-axis. This one, you still have a slope of 3. You still have a y-intercept of 0, but it may or may not hit that y-intercept, okay? So pause the video real quick. Try number 7. If you're still confused about number 7, put a circle around it, and then come see me for 0 period, because I'll either show you a different way to do it, or we'll just keep doing this way until it sinks in, okay? Please just come see me for tutoring. So pause the video and try number 7. Alright guys, let's check our work on 7. Okay, so we're going to plug in negative 2 when we got 0. Means we go to the x-axis at negative 2. Y is 0. We're not going to move anywhere. Solid line, so solid dot. Slope is always in front of x, so you could either go up 1 and right 1, or down 1 and left 1. And once the piece that's less than, so that's why we went down 1 and left 1, okay? It still has a y-intercept of 2. If you were to go up and right, you would see it would still hit at 2. It just did not want us to take that piece, okay? It wanted us to start at x is negative 2 over here, all right? So be careful. All right, this one, we plugged in negative 2, got negative 6. So we went to x is negative 2, y is negative 6. It did not have an equal to bar, so it gets an open circle. My slope is always in front of x, which is 3. So I could either go up 3 and right 1, or down 3 and left 1. But since it wants greater than, that's why I went up 3 and right 1. Okay? Alright, so then your domain is from left to right. So left is negative infinity, right is positive infinity, or you could have just written all real numbers. Don't write both. Write one or the other. Okay? Then you can think bottom to top. This one's going to the bottom. This one's going to the top. That's -2 and positive infinity, or all real numbers. Not both, just one of them, okay? All right, we got 2 more to do. We got 8 and 9. On 7, you see that, oh, I forgot that one. 7, you see that your y-intercept is supposed to be 0, and look here, it still hits at 0, okay? So it's nothing different. All right, so we're going to do number 8. So let me help you out on 8 first. Make sure we're all on the same page. Your slope is still in front of x. That's -2/1. Your y-intercept would still be -2 if you were going to take that piece. And your slope is always in front of x, so be careful. That's -1/1. Y-intercept is a +4 if you take that piece, okay? All right, so we've got y equals -2x minus 2, and it wants you to take the piece that x is less than 0. Then you've got y equals 4 minus x, and it wants you to take the piece where x is greater than or equal to 0. All right, so pause the video real quick. I want you to graph both of those on your own. Do the domain and range on your own, and see if you can get the same answer as I do, okay? Pause the video. All right, check your answer on number 8. So, let's see. This one has a slope of -2, a y-intercept of -2. We plugged in 0. That's 0 minus 2, which is -2. So we went to x is 0, y is -2. It does not have a solid bar, so it does not get a solid dot. It's an open dot. All right, your slope is -2/1. That means down 2 and right 1, or up 2 and left 1. Since it wants less than, that's why I went up 2 and left 1. Okay? All right, this one we're going to plug in 0. 4 minus 0 is 4. So we're going to go the x-axis at 0, the y-axis at 4. That solid line means a solid dot. Your slope is still in front of x, which is -1, which means to go down 1 and right 1, or up 1 and left 1, okay? Since it wants all the x's greater than 0, that's why we went down and right, okay? And you see that it still has a y-intercept of 4, and this one still has a y-intercept of -2. Those actually both hit at the y-intercept on that one, okay? So I don't care about up and down. What I care about for domain are my x values. I care that my x values are all of these guys right here to the left, because this is -1, -2, -3, -4, and so on and so forth as you went, okay? So the left is -infinity. I don't care that this guy's going down. I care about my x values. This is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, so on. Those are getting bigger. They go to positive infinity, okay? Or you could have just put all real numbers. Now for the y values, you can think for your range, you can think bottom to top. So -infinity, this guy's going down. Look at your y values. 3, 2, 1, 0, -1, -2. They're going down. They're getting smaller. That's -infinity. Then they're going to the top on this guy. So that's -2, -1, 0, +1, +2, +3, +4. They're getting bigger, okay? That's infinity. All right, we got one more to do, number 9. So last one. And remember that if you are having trouble with any of these, circle them and bring them back to me. If you still are struggling on how to do this, there is no shame in that whatsoever. You come see me, and I will show you one other way that you can do these, which is very similar to how you graphed in middle school, okay? So please come see me so that I can show you that way. So you got 2 more. Y equals 2x, and you want all the x's less than 2. And then you've got y equals x minus 1, and you want all the x's that are greater than or equal to 2, okay? So pause the video, and you try number 9. right, check your answers on number 9. So you can see we plugged in 2, and we got 4 for y. So we go to the x-axis at 2, the y-axis at 4. It does not have a closed line, so it does not get a closed dot. It gets an open dot. And you have a slope of 2, which means you can either go up 2 and right 1, or down 2 and left 1. Since it wants all the x's less than 2, you're going to go down 2 and right 1. Okay? Look at all these x values. That's 2, that's 1, that's 0, -1, -2. Those are all less than 2. Okay? Alright, then this one we plugged in 2, we got 1. You go to the x-axis at 2, the y-axis at 1. There's a closed dot, closed line, so that gets a closed dot, okay? And then your slope is always in front of x, which is 1. So you can either go up and right or down and left. And since it wants all the x's greater, all the x's bigger than 2, we need to go to the right. So that's why we went up and right. So you can see this is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Those are all bigger than 2, okay? Alright, domain is left to right. I don't care he's going down. I care he's going to the left. That's negative infinity. I don't care he's going up. I care that he's going right. That's positive infinity. Or all real numbers. Don't put both. Just pick one and put the one that works for you, okay? Range is bottom to top. This is going down. That's negative infinity. That's going up. That's positive infinity. Or you could put all real numbers. Don't put both. Just pick one. Alright, so this is your homework. These 1 through 9 and that page 23 that we did on the other side. Hold on a minute. Let me flip over on this page and you can see. Alright, so this page right here, page 23, that was supposed to be your homework due on Monday, but because of everything, we're going to change a little bit. It's okay. So this page 23 and that 1 through 9 that we just did, except for number 6, both pages are due for homework on Wednesday. I just gave you every single answer. There should be no reason for anything other than a 100, okay? But I wanted to make sure that you watched this video and did all these problems. That's why we're going to take it up for a homework grade. And when we get back on Wednesday, do not do them ahead of time. Do not be an overachiever for the next 2 days. Get some rest, get some sleep, do some work and get some money. Be nice to your mom and daddy. Do something, but do not do these problems until we get back on Wednesday. Do not do these problems until we get back on Wednesday, okay? Wednesday we'll do these problems together, clear up any problems that you have, any misconceptions that you have on Wednesday, and then we'll move on. So if you're looking at your calendar, we're going to be about a day behind, okay? So both of these pages are due for homework on Wednesday. Y'all have a great, safe, restful couple of days off, and I will see y'all on Wednesday.